morning, ma'am. We're gonna talk about grammar consideration for today. Grammar consideration is the act where children can't understand basic grammar, and it takes consideration for them. Some examples here are sentence constituents, pronouns, verb form elaboration, negative and interrogative sentences, noun phrase elaboration, and complex sentences. Sentence constituents have two types of constituents are used in building sentences. One is arguments. Arguments are required sentences constituents that must be produced in order for a sentence to be grammatical. And also there is adjunct are optional elements that add information but are not required. All sentences in English require a main clause. Pronouns. Pronouns. Children were more likely to bruise pronoun case errors with verb that were not marked for verb tense. A possible implication would be to target subject case pronouns and verb tense markings as part of a single goal rather than a separate goals. There's also negative and interrogative sentences. Both negatives and interrogatives involve modification of the basic declarative sentence. Production of these sentences forms in link to the children's learning of both the copula and auxiliary modal system and different verb forms. For instance, a study of WH questions produced by children with typical language found that order of acquisition and accuracy were influenced not only by the word but also the auxiliary of modal. Verb form elaboration. Difficulty with verb tense markers, for example, like regular past tense ed or regular third person present tense s, auxiliary be, copula be, and auxiliary do by children has been well documented. There is less information about difficulty with other types of verbs from elaboration. Noun phrase elaboration. Elaboration of the noun phrase involves both pre-modification of a noun with determiners and adjectives. Example, this ball, my big ball, and post-modification with prepositional phrases and relative clauses. Example, the boy with the curly hair, the glass that I broke. Complex sentences. Complex and coordinated sentences, hereafter termed complex sentences, are sentences with more than one clause. Coordination involves the link of two clauses by coordinating conjunction. And, but, or are examples. The second clause can be a full independent clause with a subject and a verb. Example, I got my dog and I got my dinosaur. Or it can have an ellipted correferential subject that is shared with the main clause verb. Example, the driver can go in the car and drive home. And lastly, complementation involves embedded clauses that serve as a subject or object of the main clause verb. The complement clauses produced by young children are mostly object complements. That is, they function as the object of the main clause verb.
So let's proceed to grammar remediation strategies. There are types of strategy in grammar remediation. There are two types. The first one is explicit instruction. Next is scaffolding. So let's start with explicit instruction. Explicit instruction provides models of a target form and opportunities for the child to practice that form in a concentrated way in isolation from usage and context. So explicit instruction is mostly a learner-centered practice wherein the teacher really models and use the context to clearly understood the grammar. The types of explicit instruction. Yes, there are types of explicit instruction. There are 6. The first is imitation training. Next is partial imitation. Third is modeling. Fourth, corrected practice. Fifth, contrastive modeling. And sixth, juxtaposition. So let's start with imitation training. In imitation training, it presents sentences containing the target form and asks the child to repeat each sentence immediately. It is important that the sentences be presented so that the child can see the connection between the target form and its meaning. Linking form and meaning can be accomplished by pairing each sentence with a picture. So in imitation training, the child is required to repeat each sentence immediately. And also, there should be a pairing picture on each sentence. For example, so I will be the one to, I will say the role in adult and also in the child. Adult. This is a story about Jimmy's birthday. I'll tell you part of the story and you say it after me. Mommy baked Jimmy a birthday cake. So the child will say,
Mommy baked a cake.
Let's try it again. Remember to say who the cake was for. Mommy baked Jimmy a birthday cake.
Mommy baked Jimmy a cake.
Very good. Let's look at the next picture. Mommy gave Jimmy a birthday present.
Mommy gave Jimmy a present.
Very good. You remember that the present was for Jimmy. Let's see what happens next. Mommy read Jimmy the birthday card.
Mommy read the card.
Oh, you forgot to say who the card was for. Listen again. Mommy read Jimmy the birthday card.
Mommy read Jimmy the card.
Excellent! You said, who she read the card to? Card to. So after the imitation training, we have the second, partial imitation. So in partial imitation, the child produces sentences that replicate the structure of the model sentence with different content. To accomplish this, the teacher can talk about one picture and then ask the child to talk about a different picture. Books can be used here as well, with the clinician and the child telling the next part of the story as pages are turned. So in partial imitation, picture is also used. For example, this is the picture. So here is another situation. The teacher said, how did the children get to school? I'll talk about the girl and then you tell me about the boy. Okay, the girl rode on the bus.
The boy rode in a car.
Yeah, that's all for the partial imitation.
Partial imitation.
For example, mother baked a cake.
Mother baked a cake.
You can change it, let's say father baked a cake. That could be.
Okay. Or sister baked a cake.
Yes. That's why it is called
Partial
imitation.
imitation.
It's not fully changed, just yes. So let's proceed to the third, modeling. The child first listens to the entire set of models while looking at the pictures before being asked to talk about the same set of pictures. This strategy is similar to the auditory bombardment suggested by Hodgson and Payden in 1991 for phonological intervention. Sentences be paired with pictures so that the child can make the connection between the target form and its meaning. After hearing the models, the child is asked to talk about the same set of pictures or a new set of pictures. So here is another situation. First step 1, modeling an adult. Here's a boy wearing a raincoat. Here's another boy wearing a sweatshirt. This girl knows the boy wearing the raincoat. She doesn't know the boy wearing the sweatshirt. She says hi to the boy wearing the raincoat. Now you tell me the story. For step 2, production. Pointing to the first boy, who's here? For example, let's imagine that the first boy is here and the second boy is here and the girl is
Me.
saying me. Okay.
Or me.
Yes. Who's here?
The boy
Is wearing a raincoat.
Here's a boy wearing a raincoat. You say that.
Here's a boy
wearing
a raincoat.
Very good. And here,
That's a boy wearing a sweatshirt.
yes, that is a boy wearing a sweatshirt. Who does the girl know?
The boy wearing the raincoat.
That's right. Can you say the whole thing?
She knows the boy wearing the raincoat.
And this boy,
She doesn't know him.
she doesn't know the boy.
Wearing the raincoat.
Say the whole thing. She.
She doesn't know the boy wearing the raincoat.
So which boy does she say hi to? She
says hi to the boy wearing the raincoat.
You did a great job telling the story.
Yes.
Very good.
Uy, ako pala daw.
So, good evening again, and we at this moment we are going to tackle about the fourth practice or remediation in grammar. Yes, grammar. So the fourth one is corrected practice. Taya, please read the definition of corrected practice.
Corrected practice. In corrected practice, responses are elicited from the child, and models are provided only after unsuccessful attempts at the target form.
Okay, in corrected practice, you cannot create this if the child cannot create a mistake. For example, I will say the adult part and you will say the child part. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Look how pretty this cat is. Tell me all the things that happened to make the cat so pretty. Start with the cat.
The cat washed.
Oops, something's missing. Say it like this. The cat was washed.
The cat was washed.
And next,
The cat
Rinsed off.
the
the
cat,
cat
rinsed
rinsed off.
Listen to how I say it. The cat was rinsed off. You say that.
The cat was rinsed off.
Great. You said all the words. And then what?
The cat dried.
Oops, something's missing. Listen. The cat was dried off. You say that.
The cat was dried off.
Excellent. And then?
The cat was brushed.
Yes, you did a great job getting all the words in the sentence. Of course, when the verb was in the past form, you will have the big copula of was. Okay?
Yes.
So let's proceed to another remediation strategy. It is the fifth one is called contrastive modeling. Connell, 1982, described a variation of modeling that exposes a child to the target form into another form that is semantically and or grammatically related to the target, of course. And Connell suggested also that alternating between the target and contrast and having the child produce each form immediately after the model. For example, Thea, can you read the child part? I will read the adult part. Mickey wants to swim. Tell me that.
Mickey wants to swim.
Good. You can make Mickey swim. Now Mickey wants Donald to swim.
Mickey wants to swim.
Try it again. Mickey wants Donald to swim.
Mickey wants Donald to swim.
Excellent. You can make Donald swim. So in contrastive modeling, you are exchanging or changing the subject, the subject into another subject. And lastly, the juxtapositions. Please read, Thea, the number one bullet.
Juxtapositions. The contrast here is between a simpler form and a more sophisticated form. One way to do this is to present two simpler sentences followed by a more elaborate sentence that combines the content from those two simpler sentences.
And another way to do this is, as illustrated in the following example, I will show it to you later, for targeting subordination, is to present a simpler sentence followed by a more elaborate sentence that builds on that first simpler sentence. So this juxtapositions is fitted or suitable in remediating in making complex sentences. Okay, for example, Johnny is crying. Why? Johnny is crying because he hurt his knee. Tell me about Johnny.
He hurt his knee. He's crying.
Put it all together. Johnny is crying because he hurt his knee.
Johnny is crying because he hurt his knee.
Excellent, Thea. Please clap your hand.
So we're done with the explicit instruction. Now we're going to have this is scaffolding. Now scaffolding is a procedure that helps a child to use a target form in a meaningful way during contextualized interactive exchanges. So there's an interaction between the speaker and the child, and there's also the context. So the first strategy in scaffolding that we have is recasting. Now recasts provide a complete model immediately following the child's truncated attempts at the target form. There are several types of recast. First is expansions that add grammatical elements to the child's utterance. So recasts provide a complete model immediately after the child's wrong attempt at the target form. For example, also I'll be the adult and Thea, you be the child. Look at what the boy is doing.
He's trying to climb the tree.
He's trying to climb the tree. So the child here, Thea, was saying that he's trying to climb the tree. So 2 is missing, and the adult, I as the adult, said that the target form is he's trying to climb the tree, because his trying to climb the tree is ungrammatical. Next strategy is the vertical structuring. In vertical structuring, the teacher follows up on the child's utterance by asking for additional information. So right here, the adult's or the teacher's role is to ask for additional information from the child. This strategy can be implemented by asking questions that indicate the specific information to be provided or through directives that request specific information. So after the child responds to the question or directive, the clinician or the teacher or the adult presents a model that adds the child's new information to the child's original utterance. For example, so Thea, you be the child again, and I be the adult. Please read.
It don't fit.
Why not?
It's too big.
It doesn't fit because it's too big. Let's find a bigger box. So I, as the adult, asked why it doesn't fit, So the child said that it doesn't fit because it's too big. And we could actually use the recast right after here, and it's up to the adult if he or she is going to ask the child to immediately model what he or she said after correcting the truncated attempt of the student. So next strategy, the next and last strategy for scaffolding is multiple choice modeling. So another form of scaffolding that prompts a child to elaborate by offering choices. This modeling can be done by asking multiple choice questions, as in this example that I will present later, for a 3-element noun phrase. There are 2 features that we have found to be important in giving this type of cue. One is, of course, to limit the number of choices so that the child does not become confused. The second is to present the choices so that the target response is not last. So a delayed rather than immediate imitation is elicited. So let's have this as an example. So say, yeah, I be the adult and you be the child again. Mickey is hungry. What should we give him to eat?
A cookie.
There are 2 cookies. Which one should we give to Mickey? The big cookie or the little cookie?
The big cookie.
Okay, you give Mickey the big cookie. So right there we had given the child multiple choices. So that ma'am is our report for the grammar remediation, and yes, we have the illicit instruction and scaffolding. Good night.